wide awake so they got that bad up here. I don't know if they do it or not, but I have to find a job posting that if somebody's looking for a job, especially one of you women, you might want to apply for this one. It says long-term team player needed for challenging permanent work in an often chaotic environment. Candidates must possess excellent communication and organizational skills and be willing to work variable hours, which will include evenings and weekends and frequent 24-hour shifts on call. Some overnight travel required, including trips to primitive camping sites on rainy weekends and endless sports tournaments in faraway cities. Travel expenses not reimbursed. Extensive courier duties also required. Responsibilities must provide on-the-site training in basic life skills such as nose blowing. Must have strong skills in negotiating, conflict resolution, and crisis management. Ability to suture flesh wounds is a plus. Must be able to think out of the box, but not lose track of the box, because you most likely will need it for a school project. Must reconcile petty cash disbursements and be proficient in managing budgets and resource family unless you want to hear, "He got more than me," for the rest of your life. Also must be able to drive motor vehicles safely under loud and adverse conditions while simultaneously practicing above-mentioned skills in conflict resolution. Must be able to choose your battles and stick to your guns. This person must be able to withstand criticism such as, "You don't know anything." This person must be willing to be hated, at least temporarily, until someone needs $5 to go skating, and must be willing to bite the tongue repeatedly. Also must possess the physical stamina of a pack mule and be able to go from 0 to 60 miles an hour in 3 seconds flat in case, this time, the screams from the backyard are not someone just crying wolf. Applicant must be willing to face stimulating technical challenges, such as small gadget repair, mysteriously sluggish toilets, and stuck zippers. Must screen phone calls, maintain calendars, and coordinate production of multiple homework projects. Must have ability to plan and organize social gatherings for clients of all ages and mental outlooks. This person must be willing to be indispensable 1 minute and embarrassed the next. Must handle assembly and product safety testing of a half million cheap plastic toys and battery metal devices. Also must be highly energetic entrepreneurial spirit, because fundraisers will be your move on the fly. Must always hope for the best, but be prepared for the worst. Must assume final, complete accountability for the quality of the end product. Responsibilities also include floor maintenance and janitorial work throughout the facility. Advanced possibilities? Virtually none. Your job is to remain in the same position for years without complaining, constantly restraining and updating your skills so that those in your charge can ultimately surpass you. Previous experience? None required, unfortunately. On-the-job training offered on a commonly exhausting basis. Wages and compensation? You pay them, offering frequently raises and bonuses. A balloon payment is due when you turn 18 because of the assumption that college will help you become financially independent. When you die, you give them whatever is left. The oddest thing about this reverse salary scheme is that you actually enjoy it and wish you could do it more. Benefits? Well, no health or dental insurance, no pension, no tuition reimbursement, no paid holidays, no stock options are offered, jobs supply limitless opportunities for personal growth, and free hugs for the life if you play your cards right. Everyone want to apply? Well, good morning anyway. Billie Holiday once said, "Try praising your wife, even if it does frighten her at first." Then this is spelled on a church bulletin board sign. If evolution is true, how come mothers still only have 2 hands? True. There's a story about a mother putting her son to bed on the eve of his 5th birthday. She's trying to communicate to her boy the idea of his birthday coming up. She says, "Kevin, this is the last night you're going to have your 4th night. Do you understand that?" Kevin goes, "Oh, yep. Tries to communicate it, and for a full year, he showed everybody 4 fingers. Okay? She says, "When you go to bed tonight, you'll still be 4 years old. When you wake up in the morning, you'll be different. You'll be at a different age. Do you know how old you'll be?" He goes, "Yep." She shakes his head emphatically. She says, "Now you raise up 4 fingers, plus you raise up your thumb." So he holds up 5 fingers. And she goes, "Now, how old will you be tomorrow?" Tomorrow, I'll be a handful. The whole story of a woman who had to quit work and stay home and take care of her new baby. Countless hours of peekaboo and other, games slowly took their toll on her. And one evening, she smacked her bare toe. Now, you ladies have never done this. Got in the middle of the night and stubbed your toe on a dresser or something? You've never done that. You grabbed her foot, she sank to the floor, and her husband went over to her side and tried to ask where it was hurt, and all he could hear through her muffled tears was the moan, "It's the piggy that ate the roast beef." Then there's that other hairy mother who has 3 active boys. One afternoon, she's out playing cops and robbers in the backyard after dinner. One of the boys shot his mother and hollered, "Bang, you're dead!" She slumps to the ground. When she doesn't get up right away, the neighbor runs over to check her out. And as he bent over, the mother looks up with one eye open and goes, "Shh, don't give me away. It's the only chance I've had to rest all day." For all the mothers, for those playing the role of mother in some capacity, who've had their hands full, we celebrate Mother's Day today. What a wonderful thing that God's Word has so many messages for just moms, messages for parents, really, for moms, dads, and grandparents. There's also listening who will one day be in the delightful company of parents. There are single adults who have a profound influence on homes. It's never been easy being a mother. History's most famous mother was called to be a mother to her task, just as parents today are called by God to their task. Do you think it was even easier being a mother in earlier days? How about being a mother of Jesus? Life was no picnic. The wife of a carpenter, especially in Nazareth. Her family lived in a humble stone mud brick house. Mary spent her days grinding wheat and barley into flour, making meals which consist of vegetables and eggs and fruits and nuts. Her daily routine would consist of making the bread, feeding the chickens, caring for the donkey, making her clothes out of wool of sheared sheep. She carried water from the well to drink, to clean the house, to use for cooking. She'd press the olives at harvest time, and she'd pick the grapes and figs and pomegranates when it was their season. Just a few things that she had to do each day. How many of you want to keep up with that? And they weren't an affluent family either. In fact, Scripture tells us when Mary and Joseph dedicated Jesus to the temple, the offering they made was only 2 turtle doves, which is the offering prescribed for poor families. But there were other children in the family besides Jesus. A house full, in fact. There were 4 additional boys. There was James and Joseph and Judas and Simon. And an unknown number of girls that it doesn't give any names for. And then after Jesus' 12th birthday, we don't read any more of Jesus' dad, Joseph. And they say he probably died young, as did many men back then. But have you ever thought about Mary being a single mother with so many kids in the house? She never remarried. You wonder, how did she support all these kids? Maybe this is why Jesus began his ministry until he was 30. Maybe Mary needed his help raising the younger siblings. It's not easy being a mother of Jesus. It wasn't any easier after Jesus began his ministry either. Mary didn't understand Jesus' teachings. Mary, as a woman considered a second-class citizen, was uneducated and would not have been taught how to read or write. And all her religious training would have come from what she heard and thought and was taught through the cultural traditions, and by hearing the oral recitations of the Old Testament scriptures. Yet, she better than anyone else knew that he was sent from God. But he didn't talk like the other religious figures in their culture that day. In fact, many of his teachings were in direct conflict with the conventional wisdom of their time. Jesus faced constant opposition during his ministry on earth. And during such times, a group of skeptics mentioned Jesus' family members. And the group scoffed at him and used it against him and refused to believe him. They wanted to convince themselves and others that Jesus must have been just some other man from Nazareth. But her cynicism couldn't distract Jesus from his purpose. You know, children can baffle you. Jesus baffled Mary. At his birth, she knew he was special. Who could forget the testimony of the shepherds and the wise men? When she and Joseph took Jesus to the temple at the age of 12, she saw how amazed the elders and the priests were with his answers. He was truly about his Father's business. At the wedding in Cana of Galilee, she saw him turn water into wine. He was special. She knew that. But she also saw him fail in his efforts to impact the people of his own village. And his teaching disturbed her. She and the other sons even went to hear him preach on one occasion to teach. But they were turned away. As you heard in Scripture, when she heard him, he said, "Who is my mother and who are my brothers?" She saw him stretch forth his hand toward his disciples and said, "Behold, my mother and my brothers. For whoever shall do the will of my Father which is in heaven, the same as my brother, my sister, and mother." Meshach didn't know who his real family was. What was happening to him? Have you ever been baffled by your own children? I know we have at times. But you'll hear also in Mark's account that Jesus' mother and brothers had had come actually take charge of him. They thought he was out of his mind. And in John 7:3-5, clearly indicates that his brothers didn't believe in him. They were worried about him. And they asked him to come home. To the message, his family is outside wanting to talk to him. Jesus responds with a rhetorical question, "Who is my mother and who are my brothers?" One of his disciples declares, "Here is my mother and my brothers." On what basis? Whoever does the will of the Father in heaven is my brother, my sister, and mother. Doing God's will is accepting the mighty deeds of Jesus as heralding an arrival of the Messianic kingdom. They knew that no good could come from challenging the established order of things. And they did well to worry. For soon the establishment struck back. And there hangs the baby boy on a cross. At the foot of the cross stood his mother. All disciples had forsaken him, but not his mother. Now you need to keep in mind that Jesus never disrespected Mary, nor did he ever dishonor her. In fact, he specifically was subject to her and Joseph until he began his public ministry. Jesus had great affection for her, as evidence within minutes of dying on the cross. He made sure that she'd been handed over to his beloved apostle John, a true believer, instead of his non-believing siblings. Yet even then, he addressed Mary with a familiar woman, not mother. He was authoritative with her when needed, as he was with every other person who clearly did not understand his mission. Jesus made it very clear that his place, his family, his purpose was not in this world. Mary was not singled out, though, nor was she demanded to be. Even though she was Jesus' blessed earthly mother, she allowed herself to be humbly treated, just like everyone else. And after the resurrection, Mary began to understand that what he had been teaching, it was not what she had been taught, was reflective of who he is and who his Father really was. And Mary, the mother of Jesus, became one of his followers. And there she is in today's lesson. Just before Pentecost, the disciples are awaiting the gift of the Holy Spirit. The writer of Acts tells it this way: these all with one mind were continually devoting themselves to prayer, along with the women, and Mary, the mother of Jesus, and with his brothers. Mary dedicated her life to Christ, to raising him, to loving him, to putting him first above herself, and fulfilling her role that God had given to her 33 years earlier. And then Luke places Mary in the upper room in the book of Acts. She is last seen with the apostles and disciples, patiently awaiting Jesus' return. but she is not graced with a glimpse of Jesus' glorious reappearing like so many others. But that's not necessary. For Mary completely believes in him as the Son of God and as a Savior of the world. She knows firsthand what he has done and what he will continue to do. Her heart, though broken, remains strong in the knowledge that her mission is accomplished. Do you think it was easy for Mary? It's never easy being a mother. I mean, you can say amen to that. Not easy being a mother. Children keep us on our toes. Asa Sparks tells when a Christian education director of Birmingham, Alabama, he and his wife were invited Secretary Charlene and her family to dinner one night. As they were sharing around the table after the meal, the Sparks' 3-year-old Libby climbed up into Charlene's lap. Libby said to Charlene, "My dad tells me you stuck your foot in your mouth. How did it taste?" Who cannot relate to stories like that? Now, someone said, children seldom misquote you. In fact, they usually repeat word for word what you shouldn't have said. And that's true. Small children can baffle you and embarrass you. And so can teenagers. I had dinner one night on Mother's Day. My mother was washing dishes and her teenage daughter walked into the kitchen and was horrified to see her mother washing dishes. She goes, "Oh, Mama, you shouldn't be washing dishes on Mother's Day." And the mother, thinking that the daughter was going to take care of the dishes and be thoughtful about it, took off her apron. She goes, "They'll wait till tomorrow." Teenagers are wonderful. But during that time when Mary was, when they were being tested, when they're testing out their own ideas and beliefs, teenagers can be a whole different ballgame. They also have a tendency to test our limits. Meanwhile, they're also testing our patience. Someone's humorously put it this way: why did God have Abraham go to the sacrificial mound to test him with sacrificing his own son Isaac when he's only 12? The answer is because if Isaac had waited until he was 15, Abraham may have actually gone through with it. Just kidding, of course. Robert Fulgham, author of All I Really Need to Know I Learned in Kindergarten, says this about raising teenagers. The first rule is to roll with the punches. The second rule is roll with the punches. The third rule is roll with the punches. You're going to get pretty punchy, he says, but keep on doing it. Children can baffle you. Even adult children. Jesus did not cease being Mary's son simply because he passed 30. She's still worried about him as he began his ministry, just like many of you worry about your adult children and how they're doing and what they're doing. But children can baffle us. Children can also break our hearts. You might remember the name Rita Rudner. In her great line says, "My husband and I are either going to buy a dog or have a child. We haven't decided yet." She says, "We can't decide whether we want to ruin the carpets or ruin our lives." You know, it broke Mary's heart to see Jesus hanging on a cross. Can't you imagine her weeping with great sobs as she gazed upon his broken body? Her beautiful boy who would never hurt anybody in the world, hanging there in shame and disgrace, like a common criminal, with blood draining from his body. How could she make it through this awful tragedy? She'd make it through the same way millions have made it through such trials down through the centuries. She'd lean on the strength of the one who created her son in her womb. Where else does anyone turn in such a time of tragedy? Kathy Lynn Siddall, the daughter of Dallas and Sharon Davis, was among the 168 killed in the bombing of the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City, April 19, 1995. She was 39 years old. In the years since the bombing, the couple have also lost their oldest daughter to cancer, and their only son to an auto accident. said, I've asked the Lord no less than 1,000 times why. The Lord isn't talking to me much right now. I'm in the dark. There's a mother whose heart is truly breaking. Having children can do that to you. Sometimes they break our hearts because in the vale of tears, which is life, we lose a child. Sometimes children break our hearts because we can't stand to see them suffer. Whether suffering be mental or physical. Other times they break our hearts by wrongdoing. There's no pain like the pain of a parent whose heart is breaking over a child. Children can baffle. Children can break your heart. Yet generation after generation, we keep having children. And why? Because children make life worthwhile. They fill our lives with joy. They give our lives meaning and purpose. In fact, some unknown author put it like this. The government recently calculated the cost of raising a child from birth to 18 and came up with $160,140 for a middle-class family. Talk about sticker shock. That doesn't even touch college tuition. But $160,140 isn't so bad if you break it down this way. It translated into $8,896.66 a year. $741.38 a month. Or $171.08 a week. That's a mere $24.44 a day. Just $1 over an hour. So you might think the best advice says don't have children if you want to be rich. It's just the opposite. There's no way to put a price tag on it. Feeling a newborn life move for the first time, see a bump of a knee or a foot ripping across the skin, having someone cry, it's a boy or it's a girl, they hear baby wail, and knowing that all that matters is healthy, counting all the 10 toes and 10 fingers for the first time, feeling the warmth of that fat cheek on against your breast, cupping the entire head in the palm of your hand, making out a dada or mama from all the cooing and gurgling. You just can't buy that. What do you get for $160,140? You get naming rights, first, middle, and last. Glimpses of God every day as you look in their eyes. Giggles under the covers every night. More love than your heart can hold. Butterfly kisses and Velcro hugs. Endless wonder over rocks, ants, bugs of all kinds, clouds, and warm cookies. A hand to hold, usually covered with jam or some other gooey substance. A partner to blow bubbles with, fly kites, build sandcastles, skip down the sidewalk in a pouring rain. Someone to laugh with till you're silly no matter how bad your day has been or what your boss has said or whether the stock market performed good or not. For $160,140, you can be Peter Pan and you never have to grow up. You get to finger paint, carve pumpkins, play hide and seek, catch lightning bugs. Never stop believing in Santa Claus. You have an excuse to keep reading the adventures of Piglet and Pooh. Watching Saturday morning cartoons. I love them, don't you? How many watch Saturday morning cartoons? Come on, folks. Going to Disney movies and wishing on stars. You get to frame rainbows, hearts, and flowers on refrigerator magnets and collect spray-painted noodle wreaths for Christmas. Handprints set in clay for Mother's Day and cards with backward letters for Father's Day. For $160,140, there's no greater bang for your buck, folks. You get to be a hero just for retrieving a frisbee from the garage roof, taking the training wheels off their bike, removing a sliver, filling a wading pool, and coaxing a wad of gum out of their hair. Coaching a baseball team that never wins a game, they always get treated with ice cream afterwards. You get a front row seat with history to witness the first step, their first word, First haircut, first bra, first time shaving, first date, first love, first time behind the wheel. You get to be immortal. You get another branch added to the family tree. And if you're lucky, a long list of limbs and twigs in your obituary called grandchildren and great-grandchildren. You get an education in psychology, nursing, criminal justice, communications, and human sexuality no college could ever give you. In the eye of a child, you rank right up there with God. You have the power to heal a boo-boo, scare away monsters from under the bed, patch a broken heart, police a slumber party, ground them forever, and love them without limits. So that one day, they will, like you, love without counting the cost. Children can baffle you, they can break your heart, but they can bring you great joy as well. Maybe that's why God had children. Certainly we baffle God in our actions. Occasionally we break God's heart. But still God loves us so much that God sent his Son to give us life on his behalf. On this Mother's Day, it'd be good to remember Mary, the mother of Jesus. She was baffled by her son. On one occasion her heart was broken, but she loved him and stood by him to the end. And why? Because that's what life is all about. Love within the human family. Love within the divine family. Love which comes from the heart of God. Amen.